let me show you what's going on over here at the Honda, okay? I was gonna start working on that. Well, I thought my key fobs came for this that I ordered, so I jumped over here with my key fobs. Then I got on the internet and looked up the program procedure. I tried many a times and get nowhere. It's not programming, it won't program these remotes. So then I got on the internet and I thought, well, maybe this doesn't have a keyless entry system. Okay? It says it has an anti-theft system on here. But anyways, so I thought, well, I'm going to start tearing the dashboard. Well, that's where I'm at right now. But I got into this fuse panel, and what is this mess going on in here? I plugged this in right there. But what is this mess going on here? And I see more back in there, and there's an empty plug right here. But these wires are all running up under here. So I'm going to take this bottom dash off and see what's going on in here. But I can't get these remotes to program. These ones do have circuit boards in them, and they have batteries in them, and they seem to be operational. Just will not program. I'm looking to see if I have to put a keyless entry module in this thing. If so, there's a plug inside them that you just get the module and plug it in. But I need to figure out where it's at first. Alright, look at this mess up underneath the dash. Fuses with wires cut and hanging free. I don't know what all of this mess is. I don't know that I want to get into it. There's wires spliced in. There's a button and a light bulb. I unplugged this. But you know what? They didn't have this. Let me see something. I want to see if I have power if I plug this plug in that I just disconnected. So let me plug this back in and see if I have power on this thing. Alright, so we have an aftermarket alarm system is what it is, and I'm going to just do away with it and see if we still have power, because check this out. Great. Get that rat's nest out. I left all the original wiring in. This wasn't plugged in, which I'm thinking is like the factory's security system plug. It was unplugged, so it was disabling this. I plugged it back in. I'm going to see if I can program the remotes now. I removed everything that's not part of the car that was spliced in. The car still starts. I did check that. So I guess I'll try to pop all this back up in. Maybe. Anyways, let me pop all this back up in, and I'll see if I can program the remotes now. Well, through all my trials and tribulations here, come to find this vehicle was not equipped with remote keyless entry. It has to be through the stock deck. The radio is where the keyless entry receiver was at, and this one does not have it. So I can't even program those key fobs. The thing that I just took out was a keyless entry system that somebody had installed, but it took different remotes. These remotes wouldn't work. They had that was from Pep Boys. When you look it up, it comes up under Pep Boys, and they're discontinued. You can't get them anymore, and you can't get remotes for them. So I don't really feel bad about cutting it out of here, because there was no way I was going to get it to work. So we're just going to sell it as is. But now it doesn't do the lock-unlock thing. You have to manually lock and unlock them yourself, which honestly I like better, because the way it was, it would automatically lock as soon as you turned it on, and sometimes it would lock whenever you got out of the car, and it was weird. Now it's just working the way it's supposed to be. So now, I'm not going to do it right now, but I need to put this interior back together. But I'm going to go over and jump on the Eclipse and get that service done and start tearing down the timing cover and everything, so I can see what I'm doing over there and make sure that that's where my oil leak's at. So yes, after further inspection, you can see the oil that's coming out of this cam gear seal, which is right behind this sprocket. It's dry up here at the valve cover. Hold on a second. I guess you can see it from right there. It's dry around the valve cover. Around that bolt on the gear, there's oil puddled right there. And then behind it, that's all oily back in there. It's all running out of that seal back there. Yes, the timing belt is not dried. It looks really good condition, but I got a kit. I think what I'm going to do is eliminate the AC compressor, which is down there, right there, and this pulley right here. That gets that stuff out of the way for me, and I would just include it with the car, but that AC pulley, or the AC unit, I should say, is grinding and not feeling very good. Like there's dirt or something inside the compressor itself. I don't know if I'm going to have enough room to get to it from down there, but I'm going to try. I'm looking around to see if there's... That cover does not extend down that far. I'm going to go ahead and pull this pulley off right now because there's 2 bolts I can access to get it out, which will give me more room for the AC compressor. I don't know if I'm taking it out yet. Like I said, I'm going to try. But this motor mount has to come off to take the timing belt off, and there's really not a lot of room in here for doing a timing belt. So it's going to be quite fun. You can get to the lower half through here. This plastic cover is going to come off. We're going to take the wheel off, and then I'll be able to access the lower portion through here. But let me just go ahead and start disassembling all this stuff. Alright, so I'm going to get two new of those belts because they don't look the best, like they've been chewed up. I'm at a standstill right now. What I need to do is take this engine mount out right here, and I need one of those cradles that go between the fenders to hold the engine up. My buddy has one, and I'm going to try to get a hold of him to see if I can get one. But basically, I can't get my impact in. I need to get this pulley off, and I can't get my impact in to get those bolts out. And it's near impossible to do it without some sort of special tool or something. Or, you know, if you jammed a screwdriver in there, you get a couple out, but the last two you won't be able to get out. So I can't get the timing cover out because of this pulley right here. So until I get that hoist, I'm kind of at a standstill. I got, you know, all the bolts out. You see all that oil is making its way down here and just making everything saturated. I'm gonna degrease all of this. It's gonna make a mess in here, but I'm gonna spray and try to clean up this whole area down here. Basically, I want to get inside the cover cleaned, and then once I get, well, and then I'll clean the cover with it off the vehicle. But then once I get it back together, I'll go outside with engine degreaser and just soak all this stuff down and spray it. And hopefully we'll get that cleaned up. Man, look how close that axle. Well, I guess it's extended the whole way. I was like, man, look how close this axle is to this suspension thing here. So, yeah, let me try to get a hold of my friend. If not, then we will continue this video later on in the week. Well, guys, this puts me at a standstill. I tried to get a hold of my buddy. I can't get a hold of him, so I'm like, I'm going to need one anyway. So, as it is right now, Harbor Freight's already closed for the evening. I'm off work tomorrow. So, tomorrow, I'm going to run Harbor Freight in the morning and get that engine support bar so I can support this engine, take the engine mount off, then I can zip those bolts out, take the pulley out, and then we can get this thing tore down. I can't really go any further than that anyways because I don't have the timing belt yet, unless it comes tomorrow. It might come tomorrow, I don't know. I got the whole kit plus the cam seal. That's the main reason why we're taking this apart. So, anyways, I'm going to do it off camera. I'm going to go ahead and change the oil in the engine and change the filter. Get that part done so that part's out of the way. I don't have to worry about it, you know, later. I also have to do it on the Accord, but I'm going to do that later. Only the best for my good one. Only the best. Anyways, I took the oil plug out, and I actually cleaned it off, but there was absolutely no metal shavings on this thing. Now, the oil could have just been changed. I don't know. This actually looks like a new oil plug if you look at it. The gasket looks new, new-ish, not brand new, and it just is in really good condition for an oil plug with this many miles on it. Normally the threads are about stripped and it's very dirty, and the head of your bolt's normally pretty chewed up and everything, but this one looks pretty good. Anyways, Super Tech's going in this one because only the best. But yeah, it's already draining, and the oil that came out of this is thick. Of course, I normally warm my engines up before I you know, change the oil just so the oil drains out faster, and the oil was cold in this, but I don't have the belts on right now, so there's not a belt running the water pump, so I didn't really want to start it up. I'm sure that would have got it warm pretty fast, but I'm going to continue and finish this. Well, guys, this morning it is extremely cold out. It's like 18 degrees, but the wind is blowing like really hard, and they said that the wind chill is like -4 or something like that. It's ridiculous. The garage is freezing. I will be firing up the heater here, but I got to run Harbor Freight first because I need that engine hoist, and I want to get a couple other small things. I'm going to get new belts because Advanced Auto is just down the road from there. So I'll go there and match up some belts because they're not the factory size since it's not running the AC compressor. That pulley I took out, or the tensioner, I'm leaving it off because that tensioner runs to the air conditioner that is not running. That air conditioner, yeah, there's no way. I turned the air compressor and it just grinds the whole time. So it's shot, and I was going to take it out, and the more I thought about it, I'm just going to leave it on there because that way it keeps the lines plugged and I don't have to worry about plugging the lines up. That whole system's probably shot anyway, but yeah, it's going to be a beater with a heater and not an air conditioner. So let's get moving down the road. I'm going to get the Camaro out because the Camaros have to come out because the contractor's coming tomorrow to add some more bracing because I guess he feels that it's not strong enough. I don't know. It held up fine with all that snow, but whatever. If he wants to make my garage stronger for free, I'm all for it. So seems like a pretty nice guy. So yeah, thumbs up to that. I'll tell you what, boys and girls, it is no freaking joke out. It is freaking cold. I mean, I even let this thing warm up. I'm telling you, it just all of a sudden just got into the right season. It's been actually seasonably warm all winter until now. And now it's, oh my gosh, it finally hit. I gotta watch my front splitter on all this snow because it's like everything turned to ice and it's hard. It's enough to damage your front end. They told me to pull my vehicle up to the curb that they'll load it for me. I'm like, it's not very big. You can just bring it out. I'll put it in. It's no big deal. Well, this Advance is the only one in Lewistown, and the bigger belt, he said he can have tomorrow. They don't have in stock. The smaller belt, he can't even get. So, I think I'm going to go ahead and drive to Huntington because there's an Advanced, a Napa, and an AutoZone there, and I'll go there and see if they can match me up some belts for this car. Alright, so supposedly AutoZone had both of them, but they can't find the small one. So, I still don't have the small belt. I want to show you the difference between these belts. The belts I have don't look bad, okay? The ones that came off, they're not horrible. But I'll show you the difference between a brand new one and the one I have. And you can see the difference, if it'll focus, between the grooves. These ones are a lot deeper. This is the one that came off the car. This is the brand new belt that I got, and you can see that the grooves aren't as deep. It's got like a felt surface almost. But I got one belt. So now there's two more parts stores here. I'm gonna go try to find this small belt. I wish they would have found it in here because the prices weren't bad, but supposedly there's a place I haven't heard of. It's right down the road here, so I'm gonna go check it out real quick. Alright, so none of the parts stores have that belt, so I'm gonna have to order it online. Oh well, I'm waiting on parts anyway, so when it gets here we'll throw it on. Anyways, I'm gonna put this engine cradle together so we can take this engine mount off on this thing. Alright, so just as long as you know you're not going, this is not an engine hoist. This is not to lift your engine out. This is to support your engine while you work underneath it and you take a motor mount off. So I have it around one exhaust manifold, and I also have it around an intake manifold, but I disconnected the coil pack and moved it out of the way, and I disconnected that fuel injector and took the spark plug boot out so that I have a clear shot here, and I got this supported on both sides. So now I can take the motor mount out. Well, according to what I see right now, I put it in time, what I think is in time, and there are 4 timing marks on this engine you have to line up. One is this notch on the gear. If it focuses in on it, shine it off to the side. There's a notch in the gear there that lines up with the notch in the case. So I have that lined up. The oil pump has an arrow on it, if you can see there, and then there's a notch behind it. So I have that lined up. Now where it looks like we're a tooth off is on the crank and on the balancer up here. Let me wipe that balancer off real quick. You can't even see the mark on it because it's so greasy. Okay. Alright, so now you can see the notch on the case, and look, we're a tooth off on it. And not to mention, that belt could be tightened up. So, look at this. Probably shouldn't be that much play in there, I wouldn't think. I did not get that belt to replace. I'm going to try to tighten that tensioner right there. But what I'm seeing from this is the crank and that are timed together right now. The balancer and the crank. But the crank is out compared to the oil pump and the cam. Because there's a mark on there. I went past it to get it to line up. That back plate, that bolt up there, there's a mark right before it. And there's a notch in the plate, and I'll have to go backwards for you to even see it, because I had to go past it. Let me go back. Okay, so you can see now we're before the mark up there, and right there you can see the notch. Right where that bolt's at, there's a notch, and then there's a notch in that plate. And they're supposed to line up. So let me get those lined up. I don't know. We're out of time, boys. So this thing might run even better. So right about there. Yep. See, we're lined up here. We're lined up right here. Now, look. Our oil pump is 1 tooth off. And our cam is 1 tooth off. So I'm not gonna tear this down right this second, just because I want to leave it in time. I don't want anything getting knocked out. The oil pump can be out 180 degrees. If you flip that around and line it up, like do a full rotation and line it up, and it wants to fall away from it either direction, then it's not in time. You turn it a whole nother revolution, and if it comes back to that timing mark every time you let go of it, then you're in time on it. But you see, look how caked and grease. This thing's been leaking for a while. That is your crank sensor. It is just caked. Everything in here is caked. The belts look really good. The timing belt is a little sloppy. I got a little bit of play in it. It's not too bad. I got more on this end. Down here, the non-tensioner side. But it's probably a good thing I'm doing this, because I don't know that this would have lasted much longer. And I'm hoping, I didn't know this had 2 timing belts. I'm hoping I got the right kit, or I got all of it, like 2 of them. I'm not sure what all I got. So once I get that belt out of there, I got to get all that caked out grease and mud out of there. So we're gonna liberally spray this down with grease remover to hopefully get all this crap off. So I just cleaned some of the junk out of there, the crud and stuff that was laying down in there, and then I took the timing cover and scrubbed it down, and it looks actually in better shape than I thought it would. It does have a grind mark hole right there, but besides that, it's actually looks pretty good. I thought it was all busted up whenever it was dirty, but it doesn't look bad. So one less thing I gotta clean. But as for now, I am out of parts and I have other things to do. So I'm gonna come back to this later on in the week, hopefully with parts. All right, guys. So fast forward a couple days. My cam seal is here. I got the one belt the other day. The other belt is supposed to be here tomorrow. I did not get my timing kit yet. I got to get on Rock Auto and see when it is supposed to deliver. I just got the cam seal from them. I found out why it's out of time. Whoever did it was an idiot and did not do the timing job right. That's what I'm assuming. But anyways, this piece is part of the timing right here, which I'm going to reuse it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not leaking. Everything looks good. This pushes tension on the timing belt. And whenever it's set correctly, you should be able to put a pin inside here while the timing belt's in, and that should hold in place. This was fully extended when I got in there, and there wasn't tension on the belt. This pushes on an arm that that has one of those eccentric bearings on it where you can adjust the tension on it. You're supposed to set that first while this is still pinned. Then you're supposed to be able to take this pin out, crank the engine over twice, let it sit for 15 minutes, and you should be able to put the pin back in it. And so this plunger should be in really far whenever it's set up, so it's holding constant tension on the belt. And it wasn't. Like I said, it was out like this the whole way. All they did was turn that eccentric bearing to put tension on the belt. And that's my assumption. I mean, I can't say 100%, but I'm guessing that's why there was like not a lot of tension on the belt, and it was out of time. One tooth, luckily. One tooth. So hopefully the Eclipse should run pretty good whenever we get it back together. Alright guys, so this is what it should look like when it's installed. You adjust that eccentric bearing up above it on the arm, and it should have just enough tension on it that you can pull this pin out easily. Then, like I said, then you should be able to turn the motor over 2 rotations, or it's 4 turns, I guess, on the crank. And they're supposed to wait 15 minutes and then try to put this pin back in, and you should be able to get it back in. I used a pop rivet. That was the only thing I found that was strong enough to hold it. So, but it worked pretty good. And all I did was compress this in a vise, and it worked out pretty good. You don't want to compress it really fast. You want to take your time and compress it slowly so you don't blow the seal out of it. But yeah, it wasn't that bad. Listen guys, I'm by no means an expert on anything that I do. I use the internet to my advantage, okay? So, like, I was watching videos on the timing for these engines, which I was astonished. It is identical to some of the Hyundai and Kia timing belts. I guess their engines, Hyundai and Kia use like Mitsubishi engines or parts of it. They're almost identical. Like the timing setup is the exact same. So hopefully I get my parts, then we can slap this thing back together. That's all I'm waiting on, really. I'm hoping tomorrow. Hopefully we'll see a belt tomorrow. Alright guys, so everything is here except for the small belt, which is coming FedEx, so it should be here today. So I need to tear all this down, do a thorough cleaning, and then we'll start assembling it with all these very old parts that came in the mail. This is the timing belt kit I got. Look, 3/16 of 2004. And everything's labeled of 2004. But, whatever. That's what we're going to use. But yeah, Rock Auto gave me a very old kit. It's been on the shelf for a long time. But, before we jump into this, I want to close this episode out. We're making this a 2-part episode. Sorry, you guys. You're not going to see me putting this back together on this episode. But, Wednesday, we'll be putting this back together. And hopefully firing it up in time for the first time. So, and then after that, I got undercoating to do. I want to undercoat the whole thing. I got more jack stands so I can get the whole thing up, take all the wheels off. And, yeah. So, I'm thinking this thing's going to run a lot better once everything's, set up right and, stuff's installed correctly. So, anyways, if you guys like this episode, go check out some of my other episodes. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace out!